Welcome back to HFI Protocol. Today's story show how humans fight aliens and never give up.
The document hit the floor with a wet slap, immediately followed by Reed's face. He'd tripped over absolutely nothing, just his own feet betraying him on the perfectly smooth metallic floor of the council corridor. His forehead cracked against the edge of a hexagonal doorway with a sound like a melon being dropped. Blood immediately streamed down his nose. Vorath, the reptilian commander with purple-blue scales and vertical slit eyes, stopped mid-stride. His elongated snout swiveled toward the humans sprawled on the floor, serrated teeth gleaming under the corridor's dark purple emergency lighting. A hissing sound emerged from his throat laughter. Did the fragile human just break itself? Kess, the insectoid scientist with her bronze chitinous exoskeleton, scuttled backward on all six legs, her mandibles clicking in what sounded like chittering amusement. Paper-skinned creatures shouldn't walk unassisted. Reed pushed himself up to his knees, blood dripping onto the treaty documents. I'm fine, just clumsy. You're hemorrhaging, Balcor said, the amphibious council member's wide, lipless mouth stretching into something resembling a smirk. Through his translucent skin, all three of his hearts were beating visibly faster, but with entertainment, not alarm. His webbed appendages gestured dismissively. Your cranial casing splits from minor contact. How does your species manage doorways? It's just a cut, Reed said, wiping blood from his eyebrow. More blood immediately replaced it. Vorath's scales rippled in waves of amusement. His forked tongue flicked out rapidly. Genetic design flaw. They rupture from ambient architecture. He turned to Kess. Document this for the Biological Weakness Registry. Already recording, Kess chittered, her compound eyes reflecting the purple emergency lights in 1,000 tiny fragments. Her mandibles spread wide in what was clearly a grin. Humans, unsuitable for environments containing corners, edges, or flat surfaces. Very funny, Reed muttered, finally getting to his feet. Security, Kess called, but her tone was mockingly casual. We have a catastrophically fragile organism in Corridor 9. It may need protective cushioning. Zix materialized through the wall, her jellyfish-like form so translucent she'd been nearly invisible. Her bioluminescent tentacles pulsed with curious yellow light as she floated closer, her gelatinous body undulating with what might have been suppressed amusement. The human damaged itself again? Zix's voice resonated from within her transparent mass with a tone that suggested this was expected. The human struck structural architecture with its face, Vorath said, his tail lashing behind him in clear amusement. Predictable outcome for tissue paper biology. I just need a tissue, Reed said, pressing his sleeve against the cut. Balcor's lipless mouth stretched wider, his organs shifting to entertain pink through his translucent skin. It needs tissue to repair its tissue. The irony is delicious. Shall we place protective foam on all surfaces? Kess asked with exaggerated concern, her bronze exoskeleton rattling with barely suppressed laughter. Reed got to his feet, steadying himself against the wall. Blood ran down his face, but he was otherwise fine. I've had worse doing yard work. Yard work requires cranial damage? Kess chittered with genuine mirth. What do you cultivate? Attack vegetation? Vorath's hissing laughter intensified. The humans wound themselves recreationally. This explains their population numbers, constant self-inflicted casualties. Can someone just point me toward a bathroom? Reed asked. Medical observation first, Zix said, her bioluminescent tentacles wrapping around Reed's arm, still pulsing with amused yellow. We should document how long it takes such fragile biology to fail completely. Zix's tentacles tightened, and she floated backward, dragging Reed down the corridor. Vorath, Kess, and Balcor followed at a safe distance, their commentary continuing. 12 milliliters of fluid loss from minor impact, Kess chittered. I've seen plants more durable. The decorative ones in the lobby specifically. The species walks upright, despite having bones like dried grass, Vorath added, his scales rippling with continued amusement. Fascinating evolutionary mistake. They reached the medical observation chamber, a circular room with harsh white examination lights and a transparent containment cylinder in the center. Metallic walls lined with alien monitoring equipment cast blue holographic glows across every surface. Zix shoved Reed toward the cylinder. Get in, she commanded, though her tentacles were still pulsing with entertained yellow. Let's see what other design flaws you're hiding. Reed stepped into the cylinder. The door sealed behind him with a pneumatic hiss. Vorath immediately activated scanning equipment, his clawed fingers dancing across holographic controls while his snout pulled back in a toothy grin. Initiating durability assessment on tissue paper specimen. "I'm right here," Reed said. "Preliminary scans confirm epidermal layer thickness of 0.03 millimeters, Kess announced, her mandibles clicking with continued amusement. "I've handled packing material with better structural integrity." Balcor pressed his webbed appendages against the cylinder, his 3 hearts pumping visible entertainment through his translucent body. "How do you survive weather? Does rain pierce you? Do you require indoor housing during precipitation?" "Very hilarious," Reed said, still applying pressure to his bleeding eyebrow. "The bleeding continues," Vorath observed with scientific detachment mixed with mockery. "Self-sealing mechanism appears absent. Standard atmospheric exposure is slowly killing it." "I'm not dying from a cut." "Give it time," Kess chittered. "With biology that fragile, anything is fatal eventually." Reed wiped blood from his eyebrow one more time and paused. The bleeding had stopped. He lowered his hand, revealing skin that was already knitting itself back together. The gash streaming blood moments ago was now just a pink line. As they watched, even that faded to normal skin tone. The laughter died immediately. Vorath's snout dropped open, his forked tongue hung uselessly, his scales went rigid, shifting from amused purple to shocked gray. Kess's chittering cut off mid-plick. All 6 of her legs locked in place, her bronze exoskeleton freezing completely. Balcor's 3 hearts stopped beating simultaneously, visible through his translucent chest. His organs went from entertained pink to shocked white. "What?" Vorath whispered, his vertical pupils dilating to massive black circles. "Was that?" "Totally normal," Reed said, checking his reflection in the cylinder's transparent surface. He touched his forehead where the gash had been. "Smooth skin. See? Fine. Told you." "It regenerated," Balcor gurgled, bubbles escaping his neck membrane uncontrollably. "In real time. Without medical intervention. While we were mocking it." "That's what humans do," Reed said. "We heal. It's kind of our thing." Kess's legs collapsed beneath her. She hit the floor in a heap of bronze chitin, her mandibles working silently. No species heals dermis that fast. The cellular reconstruction rate would require... That's impossible. "How long have your people had this ability?" Vorath demanded, all amusement gone from his voice. His scales were now shifting through colors of alarm pale lavender to deep violet to nearly black. "Always, since forever. It's biology." Zix floated closer, her gelatinous body no longer pulsing yellow amusement but rather strobing through colors. Confusion purple, fear yellow, fascination green. "Show us again." "Absolutely not." Vorath was already moving, grabbing a cutting tool from a nearby table. The reptilian, who moments ago had been laughing at Reed's fragility, now looked almost frantic. He activated the blade, humming with orange energy, and before Reed could protest, overrode the cylinder controls and reached inside. The blade sliced across Reed's forearm. Not deep, but enough to draw blood. "Hey," Reed yelled, jerking his arm back. But Vorath wasn't listening. His vertical pupils were locked entirely on the cut, watching with the intensity of someone seeing physics break in real time. Blood welled up, ran down Reed's arm in a thin stream, and dripped onto the cylinder floor. Then it stopped. The wound began closing. Skin cells multiplied and wove together like organic fabric repairing itself. 10 seconds. 15. The cut vanished completely, leaving only a faint pink line that faded even as they watched. Balcor made a sound like a dying accordion, bubbles erupting from every membrane on his body. It did it again. The paper-skinned creature that we mocked for fragility just regenerated catastrophic damage in seconds. "This violates every known principle of cellular biology," Kess said, picking herself up from the floor with trembling legs. Her compound eyes were locked on Reed's arm, her earlier mockery completely evaporated. "What's the mechanism?" "Blood clots, then scabs, then new skin grows," Reed said, examining his now perfect arm. "Pretty basic." "Basic?" Vorath's voice cracked. His scales shifted through colors Reed hadn't seen before. "We laughed at you. We called you tissue paper. We mocked your fragile skin. And you've been carrying around military-grade regeneration the entire time?" "I mean, it's just how we're built," Reed said, flexing his fingers. "Just how?" Vorath sat down hard, his tail curling around him. "We've made a terrible miscalculation." You guys don't heal? Reed asked. Over weeks. Balcor gurgled, his organs still shocked white through his translucent skin. Months for serious injuries, with medical support and cellular scaffolding. And we were laughing at you. We do it in minutes, Reed said. Hours for deeper stuff. Broken bones take about 6 weeks. The room went completely silent except for the hum of medical equipment. Kess spoke first, her voice barely a whisper, all mockery gone. Broken. They heal back stronger than before. Something about the calcium deposits. Vorath's scales went completely flat against his body, a sign of submission Reed hadn't seen before. Your skeletal structure can fracture and repair itself multiple times, and we called you fragile. I broke my arm twice as a kid, snapped my collarbone once, couple of ribs, all healed fine. Balcor's webbed appendages covered his face in shame. We mocked the creature that can survive skeletal destruction. We're not unkillable, Reed said. Zix floated higher, her bioluminescent tentacles flashing in rapid panic patterns. What about organ damage? Liver regenerates from like 25% remaining tissue, Reed said. Kidneys can work with just one. We can lose a lung, part of our intestines, our appendix. Stop, Vorath said weakly, his earlier bravado completely evaporated. Please stop talking. But Reed continued. Oh, and we regrow skin constantly, shed the entire outer layer every few weeks. Our blood makes new cells every day. Red blood cells live like 4 months, then die and get replaced. Kess fainted again, her bronze exoskeleton hitting the floor with a clang. Balcor was making continuous bubbling sounds, his translucent body vibrating. We called them tissue paper. We laughed at their fragility. They've been humoring us this entire time. You're describing a species in constant state of controlled decomposition and reconstruction, Vorath said slowly, his voice hollow, while remaining conscious, while we mocked you for being weak. Can I leave now? I still need to deliver those treaty documents. Please don't hurt us, Balcor whispered, backing away from the cylinder. Reed blinked. What? I'm not going to hurt you. You could, though, Vorath said quietly, his scales still completely flat in submission. Couldn't you? A species that regenerates from everything, that survives skeletal destruction, that heals in real time. We laughed at you, called you fragile, cut you for science, and you're still being polite. Well, yeah, Reed said. You didn't know. Besides, you stopped once you realized. That counts for something. Zix's tentacles slowly retracted from the various instruments, her glow fading to a shamed blue. We should have been more respectful. We judged based on appearance. We assumed fragility meant weakness. This explains everything, Balcor said, his organs shifting to embarrassed yellow through his translucent skin. The impossible survival rates. The complete lack of concern for safety protocols. You don't take precautions because you don't need them. You just heal through everything while we mock you for having thin skin. Not everything, Reed said. We can still die. Plenty of things kill us. Apparently with great difficulty, Vorath said. He stood slowly, his scales beginning to return to normal purple coloring. And while enduring mockery from species who wouldn't survive a tenth of what you casually regenerate from, Reed shrugged. I mean, you guys have exoskeletons and multiple hearts and translucent skin to monitor your organs. We've all got our advantages. Your advantage is being unkillable while looking harmless, Kess said weakly from the floor, her mandibles trembling. That's terrifying. I think we owe you an apology, Vorath said, his forked tongue flicking out slowly in a gesture of respect, and possibly reparations for the cutting. And the mockery, Balcor added, his webbed appendages spread in submission. And the laughing, Zix said quietly, her tentacles drooping. Reed accepted his blood-stained treaty documents from where they'd been set aside. How about we just start the negotiations over, properly this time, as equals who don't underestimate each other based on appearances? Vorath extended a clawed hand, his earlier condescension replaced with something like cautious respect. Agreed. And for what it's worth, humans are officially upgraded from fragile tissue paper species to regenerative nightmare fuel that we should never have mocked. Reed shook the reptilian's hand. The scales were warm and dry, surprisingly gentle this time. I'll take it. One question, though, Kess chittered from the floor, finally pulling herself up, her mandibles clicking nervously. If you can heal from all this, what actually scares humans? Reed thought about it for a moment. Student loans, taxes, family gatherings during the holidays, The usual existential dread. Oh, and dentists. All four aliens stared at him in complete confusion. Those are financial and social constructs, Balcor said slowly, his three hearts beating in bewildered patterns. Not physical threats. And dentists are medical professionals, yes? Yeah, Reed said, heading for the door. Because we already know we can survive the physical stuff. It's the metaphorical wounds that don't heal. And dental work is just uncomfortable, even if we heal from it. He left them standing in stunned silence, treaty documents tucked under one arm. Behind him, he heard Vorath's voice. Note to file, never laugh at humans again. They remember, and they heal, and they fear. Agreed, Kess chittered, her legs still shaking. Nothing that unkillable should also be that forgiving. Or that psychologically complicated, Zix added, her tentacles pulsing confused purple. We mocked the apex predators, Balcor said quietly, his organs slowly returning to normal colors. They let us. That's somehow worse than if they'd retaliated. Reed smiled and kept walking down the corridor, his footsteps echoing off the metallic walls. Behind him, he left four aliens who had learned a valuable lesson about judging books by their fragile, easily damaged, impossibly regenerating covers. The cut on his arm was already completely gone. The head wound had vanished minutes ago. By tomorrow, he'd probably trip over something else, bleed impressively, and heal before anyone noticed. Just another day being human in a galaxy full of species who didn't understand that fragile and weak weren't the same thing at all.